I'm Reese.
And I'm Dea.
And we are...
Literally Dead.
I didn't join you in. That was really bad of me. But we're going to move on anyway. Today we come with you with an interesting film.
Yes. I picked the film. We watched May.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought because it's been on my list for a long time. And it always gets recommended in these like weird girl horror movies. And I'm like, what is the fuss here? Because I like a lot of the other ones in those lists. I love Lisa Frankenstein. I like Raw and... what's the other one? Jennifer's Body. I love those ones. So I'm like, right, let me watch May.
Yeah, see what the hype's about.
Mm-hmm. Before we begin, sorry, I'm sick. That's why my voice sounds like this. But I just wanted to mention our really cool pins that we got from the Independent Horror Society. They say, support indie horror. I don't know if you can see them, but yeah.
We'll insert a picture.
Yeah.
Dea will insert a picture.
They're really cool. And so we just wanted to highlight them because we've always been big fans of the Indie Horror Society and what they do.
Yeah.
And we love independent horror.
We do.
Yes.
We support independent horror.
Which I think May is.
Is it?
Well, it feels like an independent horror. Yeah.
What is that supposed to mean? Yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's alternative in that way.
Statistically, YouTubers always recommend that we mention our socials twice in the video. So you can subscribe, like, follow us wherever you get your podcasts. We are also on Instagram, Twitter, and now a proper letterboxd, not just a rinky-dink list on my account.
So go look at what we've seen.
Yeah, you can see what you've seen and what we've seen, and you can compare. Have you seen more horror movies than us? That's not hard on our account, but, you know.
Yeah. You might have seen more horror movies than Lit Dead, but I don't think more than us combined.
No. Not more than us in our real lives.
No. We'll never get to everything we've seen.
You know what? I wouldn't want to, because I think we should watch more new stuff and, you know what I mean, different things that we've not seen.
I agree. I did think, like, that's why I don't do Letterboxd, because I'd want to add every film I've seen. And I know I would never be able to. Especially with ADHD, I genuinely, like, will forget a whole film that I've seen. And then someone will bring it up and I will remember it. And I know every single scene, every single moment. I'm like, I watched that like 1,000,000 times as a kid. Had it on VHS over and over again. Just completely forgot it existed.
But then I just log it whenever I remember a film I've seen.
But I know I will never remember all of them. And that bugs me.
I guess. I don't really know. I will never remember all the films I've seen. So that's why I write them down. Because then it's like, have you seen this film? Let me just check if I've seen it.
Or worse, I'll remember I saw them. But I'm like, I can't put it down till I rewatch it. Then my watch list gets 3 times longer.
Oh no, I don't do that on Letterboxd. I do that on my like movie scratch off poster, but I don't do that on Letterboxd. Anyway, we're gonna get to this. So we're gonna do a spoiler-free synopsis, and you can decide if you're gonna stay with us or if you're gonna go watch the movie and come back. So May is about a socially awkward vet assistant who becomes obsessed with a man with perfect hands.
That's all you get.
Well, that's what I think I get my descriptions also from Letterboxd, and that's what it gives you on that too. Okay,
introduction's finished. Now on to the episode.
Yes, spoilers from now. The movie starts with our main character May, and her eye is bleeding, and she is screaming her head off.
Into a mirror, staring at herself.
Then immediately we're put into a flashback.
It's a little girl, and she has a lazy eye. They give her an eye patch, but like not like a medical one. They give her like a cartoony pirate eye patch.
Yeah, I've never seen a medical eye patch that looks like that.
No. And so obviously the kids make fun of her for it. She goes home, she's sad, but it's like her birthday, I think.
I think it's cutting in different parts of May's life as well.
Okay.
So the mother is very obviously obsessed with perfection. Like she's like telling her daughter, oh no, we're gonna make you perfect, and then on her birthday she's like, well, if you can't make friends, if you can't make friends, then you're gonna have to create friends.
Yeah, if you can't find friends, you can make them.
Yeah.
And she gives her this big wrapped box, and as she goes to rip the wrapping paper, the mother goes, oh, you ruined it. So again, more pushing that the mother's obsessed with perfection.
And May can't really do anything that a normal kid can do.
Yeah.
She can't play, she can't even unwrap her own gifts.
Like, what did she want?
Yeah.
But when she unwraps it, it's a glass box with a doll inside.
And the mum says that she made that herself when she was a kid, and that the doll's name is Susie, and it's kind of creepy looking.
Yeah.
It's like a porcelain looking thing, and it's in a glass case, and so when May tries to open the case and play with the doll, the mum says, no, you can't do that, she's special.
Yeah, you'll ruin it.
And that's kind of theme of not being able to do anything that a normal person would for fear of ruining it really carries through the whole film.
Ruining perfection.
Which makes May a very lonely child leading on to her adult life.
Assumably.
Now we cut back to adult May. This is obviously before her eye gets fucking stabbed, I guess.
Because she has 2 working eyes, although when she takes her glasses off, she still has her incredibly lazy eye.
Aggressively lazy eye is what you called it.
Because it was like, it was bad.
Yeah. And she's talking to this doll, and you realise that like nothing's really changed in her adult life, right? The doll's still in a box. She still doesn't really have any friends.
She lives alone though.
Yeah. She goes to the eye doctor. She's getting contacts so that she can go on a date. We're like, I wonder whose this date is going to be, because we've not seen her interact really with anybody.
But then we see her objectifying a man. It's like a mechanic.
Yeah.
She walks past the shop and she stares at him, but specifically his hands. She thinks he has perfect hands.
He's really grimy all over, but because he wears gloves, his hands are like pristine.
Okay, but they're not, because his nails are dirty.
I guess so.
His nails are literally dirty. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, they should be dirtier for like a mechanic. And when we first see his hands, he's literally rubbing his bare hand on a car. So I don't know how he has perfect hands. I think she just in particular likes them.
What is your gender?
Hands.
I'm a mechanic.
No.
I'm a mechanic.
So she talks about this crush with her doll. She's like doing some sort of craft. We figure out that she's crafty. She can like make stuff, sew stuff, etc. But she's talking to the doll like it's a person, and she says, "Don't get jealous. I need a real friend, someone I can hold." So she obviously still doesn't take this doll out of the case.
Yeah.
All these years later.
She goes to work. She works as a vet assistant to a very kind of incompetent vet, and the receptionist at this vet is called Polly, who's played by Anna Faris, who looks gorgeous in this movie.
She does.
But Anna Faris is like, what's a scoople? And it's because I think the vet has like an accent or something that Polly can't really understand. And so she went, you mean scalpel?
And she's like, oh, yeah.
I think, is Anna Faris supposed to be playing someone who's very like airheaded, kind of?
A little.
Yeah.
A little, but not airheaded, submissive.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is typically a thing of like, oh, like, please, Troy, tell me where I need to go. Whereas this was very like, she's still dominant, but she's like, doesn't know much.
Yeah.
At least not about vet teching.
Yeah.
She don't know anything about pussycats.
That's okay. She knows a lot about pussy though.
We'll get to that.
So May dresses up and she goes to this cafe. She's got her contacts on. And she's trying to be noticed by the mechanic. But the mechanic basically falls asleep at his table, but with his hand like up in the air, because his elbow's like leaning on the table, so his hand is up. And so May goes over and starts like caressing his hand on her face. Obviously he wakes up because of that.
He's like, what the fuck are you doing?
And she just like leaves. She runs. I think she falls on her ass first.
She does.
It's very embarrassing.
I will say, speaking of lesbian Anna Faris, one of the first things we see her do, she very clearly, in our opinion, hits on May.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh yeah, you should come over to my place. We can like eat some melon. And I don't know why. I was like, why does that sound so gay?
It's because it's something that's not like actually gonna happen. No one's like, would you like to come over to my house and eat some melons? Like, no.
It gives like coded language. It's like
obviously we're not gonna go and eat melons. You're gonna eat puss. Like, that's what you're coming over for.
Well, I mean, how would you feel if, you know, a very attractive woman had approached you and said, why don't you come over to my place and we'll eat some melons?
I would say, I would love to eat your melons, baby.
Right?
But Meg doesn't respond like that.
I just love it. I just love language like that.
Yeah.
When it's new to me.
Lesbians who are around in the 90s / early 2000s, tell us, what was eating melons
what
like?
I want to know the coded language.
Yeah.
Let me know. What would you say to another lady? Be like, are you also a sister stroker? Like, you know?
A scissor sister.
A scissor sister, yeah. I didn't want to say it. I didn't think it was my place to say scissor. I know some people get offended.
What are the word scissor?
Oh, you said it again.
Yeah. I'm also a fat dyke. Like, what do you want from me?
I love the debate when it was like, scissoring isn't real, straight men are so dumb. And then other lesbians like, then what have I been doing?
It's always like a straight woman or like a baby gay who's just come out of nowhere and it's like, that's not real. I've never done that. And it's like, no. Yeah. She runs away from the mechanic and it cuts back to her at work a few days later and she's like pricking her finger with like a scalpel.
Yeah, like it's not like just a little like, I don't know if you ever, I used to prick my fingers with like badges and stuff. This is a whole blade in the tip of her finger. So like, I don't know. It's like, oh, I'm a cute little prick. Like, no, like that can get seriously infected. That's huge. Yeah.
Well, I used to get the blood tests with like a prick in your finger and there's so many nerves in your fingers, so it's really quite painful. And so, like, I was just like cringing throughout that.
It also makes you question her weird fascination with her hands. at this point because she's been obsessed with this man's hands.
But she's cutting her own hands.
Yeah, she's cutting her own. So it's very weird. It's like, okay.
So it's like, so his hands can be perfect, but yours aren't. Which I guess is kind of like a reflection of how she sees herself, right?
Yeah.
Like, she can admire the beauty of other people, but she
is imperfect.
Yeah, and she feels like she can never be on their level, I guess.
I think it also just points to her being disturbed and having an unusual relationship with like blood and gore, etc.
Yeah, which we see throughout the film.
But this is like the first instance of it.
Yes. And I believe that this is the bit where Polly comes in and is like, what the hell are you doing with the scalpel? Like, you're gonna hurt yourself. She's like, oh, let me try, right? And so she's like pricking Polly's fingers and she's like, ow. Oh wait, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, she's a freak.
Yeah, she's a freak. And May says, oh, you have a very beautiful neck. So it's like, okay, so she's not just admiring male, like, beauty, and in this sense she's also admiring like everybody's like beautiful body parts,
but so specifically.
Yeah, very specifically. Then she goes to do her laundry. She's in like a patchwork clothes, and so the mechanic comes up to her and they have a discussion.
He doesn't have a penny for his machine.
Okay.
And she says, oh, you can use me. I mean, you can use mine. That's exactly what she says.
I know a few straight women who flirt like that.
Oh, you can use me. Oh, I mean, use mine. Would that work on you?
It depends on who's saying it.
Oh, interesting.
If Anna Faris was saying it, absolutely. But if the guy who's got the penny, oh no, he's not my type at all.
No, I like people who have pennies. That's a really big thing for me. You don't carry change? I don't know, unattractive. Deal breaker. You don't like a man who jingles? So anyway, they end up sharing a washing machine. They don't share a dryer, but they have a little chit chat. And I couldn't.
They're smoking at this point, aren't they? And she's not very good at it.
Yeah, and he's. Well, we'll get to that in a second, but yeah, she's not very good at it. She confesses her attraction to his hands. He makes a joke about once being a hand model. He wasn't. He was lying. But then they go in to get their drying, and she accidentally drops like, I don't know if it was her knickers or her bra.
It was underwear.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. So she turns away from him and does a bend and snap. She fully bends her ass over, picks it up, and snaps back up like, so sorry. Mind you...
And she's exposing her underwear again, the one she's wearing.
We're making her seem way more flirtatious than she is. She's so stiff and awkward.
She's doing it awkwardly, but it kind of works.
Definitely the way he was looking at her. She then makes fun of his like little like cartoon underwear. And he says that his girlfriend got them and walks away. She's super disappointed. But then he comes back and he says, ex-girlfriend.
Ex-girlfriend.
Sorry. And he gives her the cigarettes and says, you need to practice. And there's like 8-ish cigarettes in there.
Yeah, which is still a lot.
Yeah. Also, I just realized there are people so sexually deprived out there that having their clothes being washed in the same machine as someone they're attracted to probably would turn them on.
Probably. Oh yeah, and we find out the mechanic's name. His name's Adam.
Please like leave a comment if that would do it for you. If knowing that your clothes, or I guess your underbits, were being washed or dried in the same tumble as someone that you were attracted to, would that get you going?
But it's like, you know, like anime, like they show a lot of TNA in anime, right? But it's also very conservative. So they're like, an indirect kiss because I drank from the same cup as like my beloved. Yeah. And I'm just like, get over it.
I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe she put her clothes in with mine. Her panties are touching my shirts.
And it's like...
Nosebleed.
Yeah.
Because they're suppressed. I'm like, is there someone out there?
Yeah. So we discover that the mechanic's name's Adam. He says he's a bit of a weirdo and that he likes weird things. Not really. And he kind of establishes himself as kind of like a... You know those guys in like art school who are very much like, I'm a loner. I make such like subversive art.
I watch videos of people dying all the time.
Like, you just don't understand me.
Yeah. They like to think that people are scared of them.
Yeah. They weren't.
You know, like how people think that horror films make people violent and video games make people violent?
Yeah.
They want to be the people that people think are violent because of those things.
But they're not violent. They're like,
no,
soft,
they're not.
They're actually soft boys. It's very cute that they think that that's what people think of them.
Yeah, it is. It's so performative, you know?
Definitely.
Not that, even if it wasn't performative, not that being a widow or violent or scary or dangerous is cool. Mm-hmm. We don't condone being sadistic or serial killer. Yes.
So the next day, they decide to have lunch together in the park, and they're eating this. They split a sandwich.
Yeah, he's like, "I'll cut it, and you choose the piece," which I was like, "Oh, cute."
Yeah. Then he's like, "Oh, do you have any like gory stories from like your vet work?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, there's one time we put the wrong stitches on this dog, and his guts burst out when he came home."
Yeah, poured all over the porch.
And he's just eating this sandwich like, "Oh."
Mind you, she's like smiling like it's a funny story.
Yeah, and he's the one who said, "Oh, I'm so weird and different," right? When she's trying to appear more normal.
Yeah, she's
At first, she was trying to appear more normal.
Telling a work story with a smile on her face, kind of like, and then, so we get a phone call. That's the story. That's the energy she's giving to it, and he's the one freaked out and disturbed.
He's like, oh, is this girl a bit too weird for me?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know for 5 minutes.
That's when she notices the blind kids.
Yes.
Who are on a little like field trip to the park.
Yeah, there's like a daycare centre nearby for disabled children, and this blind class is out.
But the blind kids are given new, like, they're stumbling through the grass, confused about where they are, what's happening, and they all look really miserable.
I will say this, I'm like, did their canes get like confiscated? Because like, even because I grew up visually impaired, I used a cane, and I've used a cane from a very young age, and all of my blind friends have used canes from a very young age. And so what I want to know is like, why were they not allowed canes if they were going to be allowed to go outside?
Okay, this was my question.
Yeah.
Because what my assumption possibly was about this scene, what they were doing, is was it ever a thing? Because obviously sometimes blind people do end up without a cane.
Yeah.
In an unfamiliar environment. Was it kind of practice for that? Were they like, okay, kids, we're going to take you to a slightly unfamiliar environment, and this is like 10 minutes of you exploring what's around you with your hands to practice like finding your bearings. Was that ever a thing?
Well, the thing is I've never really experienced that because I do have useful vision, but I've never heard it mentioned before. It might have been a thing, but I don't know if it is.
Because I could imagine you'd need to practice that.
If you're newly blind, maybe, but they probably wouldn't do that outside. They'd probably do that in a safer, more controlled environment, like a physio room or some shit.
Yeah.
With some like few obstacles in their path that they could easily find with their hands or feet. Whereas doing it on like uneven ground with loads of textures is just going to
trees everywhere.
Yeah, and roots is just going to be very difficult. And also, because most of these kids were near like fully blind, right?
Oh, they all seem to be fully blind.
Yeah, which is also the rarest form of blindness. But anyway.
Well, they only accept fully blind. They accept the best of the best.
They're like, oh, you can see light. That's too much. That's too much vision. Sorry.
It's not enough points. No, it's a test. Oh yeah, they take the blindness of the blind.
Like, oh, you can see vague shapes if they're like 2 millimeters from your eyes. You're too sighted. Sorry, you should go to mainstream.
There were ISV League kindergarten. And ISV, it's a pun, like Ivy League.
Oh my god,
ISV.
They're VIPs.
The blindest of the blind. Very impaired people.
But then it's like
visually impaired people.
Visually impaired. That's what I'm called. Whenever I ask for guidance at the train station to get here, they're like, oh, we have a VIP. I'm like, thank you.
What do the celebrities say when they want to be escorted? Probably the same thing.
I'm Harry Styles.
I'm Harry Styles. I'll just kidnap a teenage girl.
What?
That's what they do.
They kidnap teenagers.
I don't know. I've only ever heard of them on Wattpad.
Oh my god, One Direction.
I've never seen the real ones. Sorry.
No, but I'm like, if you're fully blind, or near fully blind, you're gonna be doing that all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Even if when you go to a friend's house and stuff, like, they're gonna have to do that anyway. So it's not something you'd need to practice if you're doing that every minute of every day,
Yeah. I just thought it was weird. I'm like, give them an activity.
Yeah.
It's good to get outside time, regardless of what kind of kid it is.
Give them a bell with a ball in it or some shit.
Yeah.
They love that shit.
Let them practice. That's something really active you can do outside that will actually help with impairment, but also be fun.
Yeah.
Also, you might have an athlete on your hands. You even know it.
Poison ivy or some shit. Doesn't America have like loads of poisonous plants? Maybe it's Canadian. I don't know where this one's from.
That's so right. Because I was like, oh, but obviously not going to let them go anywhere near a road or anything. But you're right. There's shit like that.
Yeah.
They could walk into, like, I don't know.
Like a nettles or something.
Or a spider web with a spider that like, is going to bite them or something.
I didn't even see any adults there. Anyway, we're talking about this for too long.
No, we're not. Blind people are important.
Thank you.
You're welcome. She goes back to work, and this is another lesbian persuasion moment where I'm just going to say antivirus. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's better than saying lesbian.
Or Polly. Polly's her name.
Polly Pocket is in the receptionist desk and she starts sucking on her thumb and she's looking at May, but May just walks past.
Because May has a date tonight. She's too preoccupied. She doesn't give a shit about Polly right now.
And then lesbian Polly is like really disappointed by it.
Like, ugh.
And that's the moment you're like, oh, okay, she really is trying to get with her. At least for me, that was it.
Definitely. And they have a date and they're in this like really rundown scrap car eating chips and dips.
Yeah. And this is when we get like the important line where she says, I'm really weird. And he goes, I like weird. Of course he says that because he's like, I'm so different.
Yeah, of course he's saying that he's trying to get in her pants.
I finally found.
She could say, I'm 3/5 alien. He'll be like, I love aliens.
She said, I finally found the weird girl to my weird guy.
You're like Ramona Flower. This one came out before that, but you know what? He would say that. He would say that.
Oh, that's so what he was wanting. Oh my god, that's so what he was wanting. That's so funny. Again, not to dwell on side things, but also let's dwell on side things.
Yeah.
When it comes to guys like that and they want their Ramona Flowers, etc., They want girls who look different,
Yeah.
but they want them to be the same inside.
But that's the thing, though. Ramona Flowers, while she had a lot of baggage, she was just a normal human being.
Yeah.
The different one was Scott because he was a fucking loser.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to understand that. They're like, yeah, I'm like Scott Pilgrim because I get my Ramona Flowers. It's like, you're like Scott Pilgrim because you, like, date teenage girls.
It's true. They want, you know, her to have crazy hair or like a crazy look and just be like, she's not like other girls. But inside, they don't want them to be too creative.
Yeah.
They want them to be too intelligent.
Or too cool. That's what Lisa Frankenstein, that one movie, they're like, you don't like your partners to like cool things.
Yeah, I love Lisa Frankenstein.
Oh, so good.
Maybe we'll do that sometime.
We should. Oh yeah, they go over to his house after they eat chips and dips, and he's like, "Oh, like I'm so fucked up," and it's just like an art student's apartment.
Yeah, but there's like
And not
scratches and like people's eyes have been cut out of frames. You know, he's trying to be different.
Not even a good art student's apartment.
No.
Like it's so like. Again, performative is the word, right? Because it's not, it doesn't look like anything he's properly made himself. Like it's like something he saw on like, okay, it's 2002, so he probably wouldn't have seen it on Pinterest, but you know what I mean.
Also, it seems to lack skill, and not mean to like yuck anyone's yum, but I think it's an interesting thing between the two of them because we've established that she's quite skilled.
She makes her own clothes.
She makes her own clothes. She can sew. She can craft things that are quite pretty, and the word is perfect, which is great. Whereas his stuff is messy. Now, I understand. I completely love abstract and messy art and art that is meaning before technique. I love all kinds of art, but I do think it's an interesting thing to acknowledge that his art is messy and all over the place and trying to convey a certain image.
That's not actually him at all.
Yeah, which I think is maybe also what May does, because her art is, you know, pristine and perfect.
When that's not what she is.
Or at least not what she thinks she is.
I see what you mean. It feels like art meant for other people to perceive him rather than art he likes himself.
Yeah, and where she makes art that she thinks, this is perfect, this is pretty.
And it's all for her.
Yep.
So she has this like retractable blade and they're doing like weird foreplay with it. They're like, stab me with it. And
Well,
she's like...
Not they. Remember, she's the freak.
Yeah.
Well, he goes to stab her, obviously, because he knows it's retractable, it's his blade. And then it retracts and he goes, sorry, I'm weird. And
He literally says, I'm a psycho.
Yeah, and she goes, me too. No, she didn't say that. But she takes the blade and then she like slowly stabs it into her own chest. And then she kisses it. And then she stabs it into his chest. And like, she starts to out-freak him. But he's sort of like, oh, yeah, I'm a freak too. Yeah, let's...
I'm a freak too. But then he's like, he changes the freak. It's not like freaking each other out anymore. It's like, let's get freaky.
So they start making out. But then she very quickly bites his lip.
Yeah.
And he backs up, sort of tumbles into his typewriter. And it's like, of course he has a typewriter.
Of course he has a typewriter. I didn't even remember.
And
Didn't even remember
he's
the
like, who
typewriter.
the fuck taught you how to kiss? So she gets really embarrassed and she storms off. And she goes back home. And then she screams at the glass box with the doll in it, which has a lipstick stain on the front.
Yeah.
Because she practiced kissing on it. And she, you know, echoes his words. She says, who taught you how to kiss? And she hits the box.
Yeah.
And she cuts her hand and she also cracks the box. She's obviously mad at the doll because the doll taught her how to kiss. And she, you know, personifies this doll and thinks that this doll has been a bad friend.
Yeah.
You know? It's like if a friend was like, oh, I can teach you how to kiss. And then like teach you really badly. And then you try it on a guy and it's like, what the hell? You told me you would like this and it was wrong. That's the vibe it's giving. Just a bit more blood. But the crack in the glass is important.
It kind of continues out the whole movie. Like the glass gets more and more cracked.
But this is kind of the moment it starts. I will say, I think that the doll kiss was already cracked. Not that that's important, but this is like the first like proper crack on screen that we see sort of happen. And from now on, I might mention it a few times, but there's a few scenes where we hear the cracking of glass kind of underpin the scene, or there'll be a and she'll turn. Especially when she sort of is having doubtful moments of low self-esteem, or moments where, if anyone experiences or deals with intrusive thoughts, where those negative ones would pop up. Instead, you sort of hear like, and she'll often like turn, whip her head.
Yeah.
But it happens so many times that I might not mention it.
Fair
so
enough.
I'm telling you now. It's a cool technique that they use.
I was sick when we watched this movie. I felt like my ears had cotton wool in them, so I didn't hear it.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
She's feeling kind of down the next day at work. And so Anna Faris decides to like cheer her up. She's like, come with me, like let's go to the record room. And then she like puts on some music and they like start dancing very lesbianly. But it turns out that Anna Faris is also just looking for a place to put her cat because her landlady doesn't want it in their house.
She wants somewhere to put her pussy. The cat is cute.
The cat is cute. Her name is Loopy.
So cute. So yeah, she flirts with her until May agrees to take the cat, and then she goes, okay, great, I gotta go. The cat is out in the reception, if you could just take him. And he likes this food and that food. Bye. My favorite part of this whole thing is when she first sees Polly and she's stroking her cat.
Yeah.
And this was another moment like, do you want to eat melons with me? Where I was like, it just felt so lesbian. I don't know. As a non-lesbian, this to me is what lesbianism is. But she was like stroking her pussycat and looking at May dead in the eyes, and she went, "You're so funny."
Gay.
While stroking her pussy.
Gay.
How would that make you feel?
I think I would like combust, you know?
Yeah.
So the next part is she's kind of stalking Adam. She's following him around and stuff and calling him, right?
Mm-hmm. She knocks on his door.
She makes a new dress. She turns up at his house and she's like...
Wait, I don't think she even knocks.
No, she doesn't.
He opens the door and she stood there. And then
She's
he's
been
like...
stood there for 2 hours.
Well, she says that. He doesn't believe it. He thinks she's joking. But we believe it.
I believe she's been stood there for longer.
He says he was busy finishing his film.
Yeah.
His short film. She goes, "Oh, can I watch it?" And he goes, "I'll make you mac and cheese." And he goes, "Oh, dinner and a movie? Sounds good."
I mean, honestly, if a weird girl wanted to come to my house, watch my short films and make me mac and cheese, I would accept it too.
What gets me, though, is she's on his doorstep. And they make plans to now take his film, which I assume was on like a DVD or VHS.
Yeah.
I guess a VHS. And take it to her place so that they can go have mac and cheese.
We can't tell because the thing is, later in the film, we do see his house, right?
Yeah.
And they do have proper like dining table and chair. And the reason we figured out that we think this is May's house is because there's a dining table, one chair,
Yeah.
and then he's sitting on the sofa.
We know it's her house.
Do we?
Because later on we'll get to it. But the doll is in the house and then he leaves.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get to that. But yeah, they're eating mac and cheese. And it's a whole, like you said, it's a whole, I have to describe this because I think it's an important part of her character as well.
Yeah.
There's a whole dining table and there's only one dining table chair. So they've pulled it up to the couch and he's sat on the couch. Now this is important.
And they're sat really far away from each other.
Because it's like, oh, pushing on to the messaging again that May is so lonely that she only has one dining chair at her dinner table.
Yeah.
Has never had more, which is crazy because you usually buy them as a set.
Yeah.
So does she throw away the others?
Is it like one of those things that she makes herself, you know, like all her patchwork clothes, like she just loves to thrift and she just hasn't found the rest of her dining
Yeah.
chairs? Or maybe she just doesn't expect to have company because she's been so lonely for so long, which is really sad.
Or does it have something to do with her perfection? Does she not want to have chairs there if they weren't going to be used?
They watch his film.
Which is like a really shitty film called like Romeo and Juliet.
No, it's where it's called like
Jack
and Jill.
That's
yeah.
it.
And it's a couple and they're having a picnic and they start cannibalizing each other and having sex.
Which I don't know if any of you study film or film adjacent, but cannibalism, student films, ugh.
No, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
They love it for some reason. They think it's so like deep and symbolic.
See, I wonder if it's a straight person thing. Because I know that art comes from mindsets a lot. And I know for queer people, when they're doing like things like film studies, like a lot of their art has to do with like discomfort in their own bodies or the perception of the world, right? Whereas straight people, there's very few ways, you know, unless they have something apart from them that makes them different.
Yeah.
That they're different to the world. So I think they become so obsessed with their relationships, which I feel like comes with messaging of like cannibalizing each other and being consumed by each other. Because I can't understand why it's so prevalent amongst them.
It's not just them though. Like the lesbians fucking love cannibalism for some reason.
Do you think it's a thing of women then?
I don't know. Maybe it was just like a trend. Or maybe it's just like a, you know what I mean? Like a lot of filmmakers, especially film students, like they do certain things and you can just mark it out as like a student film straight away. And maybe cannibalism is just one of those things for some reason.
See, I do agree with you with the trend thing and stuff like that just does happen. But I do think that when people come up with these ideas, it is connected to something. And that's why we have so many films with such similar, specifically in horror, because it's always connected to some sort of deep human fear, emotion, understanding, experience. And when it's that common, to me, it has to be connected to something.
It might be a case of art students wanting to look deeper than they are.
But yeah, the film isn't very good, which they're obviously intentionally doing because they're trying to make it seem like
I
a
think
student
the
film.
director very much knew what an amateur/student filmmaker does.
Yeah,
and
especially with a horror.
And they were using that, and they were like, "Look, let me just add my student film back into this film to show you how shitty it is."
That is hilarious.
It'd be so funny if it was actually their student film.
It's cute. It's kind of like when you see an animation in an animation. Like when
Yeah.
animated characters watch animation and it's just like made to look sillier and stupider.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it. It's
But
cute.
they're making out on May's bed, and they're going a bit further this time.
Yeah. Can I talk about the sex?
Yeah.
So she's physically, something's very interesting. She's still obsessed with his hands. And where his hands go are very important to her. She wants to see them and she wants to feel them. So
She's trying to pull his hands down to get in her pants, but she wants the hands up near her face to feel more like loved,
You
I
literally
think.
see, as he's like caressing her face, she's loving it. She's looking at his fingers. She's not even looking at his face, really. And then as he like trails his hand down, she literally sighs and gets like annoyed and then tries to bring his hand back up, which obviously he's never experienced before.
I think at one point he's like, right. And then he like tries to go down.
And I think at this point he starts getting really a little bit out freaked.
Yeah.
Because he knows the film that they just watched. And how she reacted to it. She was smiling the entire time. And mind you, while she's watching the film, he, again, so performative freak, right?
Yeah.
He's looking at her, trying to like wait for her to be freaked out, but she's smiling the whole time. He's like, what did you think? And she's like, yeah, it was fun. And he's like, oh, like he's so disappointed that she wasn't freaked out.
Yeah, and she's just like, I don't think she could get a whole finger in one go though.
Yeah, that was her response. Because in the cannibal film, she gets it in one go. But because of this, you can tell that thought of can't get it in one go is in the back of his head, because she keeps lifting his hand up to her mouth, which in any other context you would think would be some cute like hand kissing, or maybe even some finger sucking, which is some people's thing.
Yeah.
But he's scared to put his fingers in her mouth.
And she manages to get his finger in her mouth, and she bites it, and he's like, no, I need a towel, like, get away. And she's like, what do you mean? This is so hot. Like, this is just like your film.
Yeah.
And he's like out freaked again. And he's like, no, I have to get out. This is not going to work. This is not going to work. And he's like, leaves.
Yeah, she like rubs his blood over her neck, trying to like act sexy for him.
Yeah.
Now at this point, this was quite interesting to me, and I'm sure much smarter people could read into this better than I could. I can't understand how much of her behavior towards this blood and the way that she's acting is her, and how much of it is her trying to reflect his energy. She's almost like amplifying it. Is she trying to mirror what he's doing? I know a lot of people have like a neurodivergent read of this character, and sometimes that can be an experience where there's this something that people do.
You're trying to appeal to that person, and you're trying to act in a way that you think is appealing to them.
Yes, but oftentimes those things have like caveats or rules that you don't know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when you like see like two friends who can kind of like cuss each other out, and then someone else is like, oh, hey,
you're a bitch.
Hey, fat bitch. And it's like, okay, whoa, what was that? And it's like, oh, you know, but it's like you guys were doing it. That kind of like disconnect of like, is that what's happening? Or is she got a thing for blood? And, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, does she not understand, oh, just because he put it in his film doesn't mean he likes it? Which again, maybe that neurodivergent thing. It's questions.
Definitely. I don't know. I think part of it is that, but I think also she's trying very hard to be seen by him, and the fact that he's perceiving her and being nice to her, and she probably hasn't had many, especially male figures in her life, do that.
Yeah.
And I think that she genuinely thinks that this is what he would like, and she thinks that this is what she likes, and she thinks that they're kind of similar in that way. And so I think that's kind of part of it as well, where she's like, oh, you're like me, that means I can be more myself around you. And then again, it's like the caveats thing. It's like, how much of myself can I be around this person, you know? And so that's what I think is happening.
I see that. I completely forgot, by the way, to say, but you wanted me to mention, while they were fucking, we were both in a very weird mood. You were sick, I was crashing off my meds. They started fucking, and I was so just not in the mood that I said I didn't want to watch skinny people bump bones.
So then there's like a very short scene where May is back at work, and then they're doing like surgery on this cat, and then he like drops something in the cat, and so like May has to like push her fingers in to like get it, and Anna Faris comes in to ask about something at the same time they're doing this like surgery, and then she manages to pull it out, and he goes, oh great, Kitty live now.
He's hilarious, but also like terrifying.
Kitty live now.
Imagine that was your
vet.
I'm sure that happens all the time.
Yeah.
That like...
They're so much less regulated than doctors, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, we already know what happens sometimes with doctors, but with vets, you're right. Like, imagine how many like people were like, oh yeah, he just didn't survive. He didn't take to the medication or take to the surgery. And it's like,
no,
I actually made a mistake.
I dropped a hangnail in there, by the way.
Imagine. But she's been like moping. Oh, another technique they've been using a lot is the cigarettes that he gave her earlier. Mm-hmm. Again, this is another thing that comes up a lot that we're not going to mention because it's small, but it's a good technique I want to say. She keeps admiring the cigarettes, and each time there's typically about one less, and it's almost like a countdown. It sort of feels like, but it also is kind of her clearly like clinging on to him. Definitely.
She's gotten a bit obsessed over him.
But also the amount of cigarettes also arcs with her character arc. She will change and she becomes a different person.
Yeah.
And the more cigarettes she smokes, and the moment that she kind of snaps and completely is a new person now, is the moment she runs out of cigarettes.
Definitely. And the next scene, she goes up to Adam's door again, and she can overhear them chatting.
Oh no, God, this is so embarrassing. Can I describe this?
And the door was like half open, wasn't it?
Well, she walks up to knock. And again, the door opens before she can knock, but only by a crack, because Adam is smoking and he's just sticking his hand out to like flip
ash
off
the cigarette.
Yeah, ash the cigarette, that's the word. But also let the smoke out, right? I think someone was complaining. And his friend is doing push-ups on the side, which is like...
Sit-ups,
that's it. Which is a glass window. So she's trying to stay more to the right to not be seen through the window, but then she's right next to the gap. And Adam is talking shit about her with his friends. So she's feeling insecure. But if she tries to walk away right now, she'll be seen through the window or the gap. So she's stood there, thinking like, if I try to leave, I'm gonna get caught. so I have to stay here and I might still get caught. Imagine how
And she has to listen to them chat shit about
and
her.
they're calling her a weirdo,
a freak,
a stalker,
a psycho bitch, I think, at one point.
which she is.
She's like, I dumped that bitch.
No, because imagine people talking shit about you like that, but realizing that
Oh,
you're doing the thing that
that's
they're
just
saying.
me.
You're literally in the middle of being a stalker psycho bitch.
Yeah.
And they're calling you a stalker psycho bitch. You can't even deny it.
Yeah.
So you can only think, I can't get caught, otherwise they're
right.
right. Imagine that. That's so embarrassing. Even at one point, there's a girl in his house, and she sort of has a reaction to hearing a female voice, obviously, because she's like jealous.
Yeah.
And the girl takes a cigarette, but again, doesn't look through the gaps, thank God. But eventually, the friend kind of sits down, so she gets a chance to run, and she books it.
Yeah.
But that was embarrassing.
And yeah, the female
Hard
friend
to
is
watch.
very like flirty with him as well. His wife.
Yeah. There's something going on there.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When he made that correction with like ex-girlfriend, I didn't believe him for a second because that pause was way too long.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, you were originally not gonna cheat on her because you thought May was weird, and then you were like, nah, let me just cheat.
Maybe he's trying to see, am I really a freak? He's like, he found his freak girl, and he was like, okay, well,
No, I'm not.
I'm always complaining about my girlfriend not being a freak, so maybe.
And the next scene, she sleeps with Anna Faris.
Oh yeah.
She goes over to Anna
She
Faris's
goes home,
house.
and Anna Faris left her a voice note and said, hey babes, like, I'm in my lingerie. No, she says, like, nightgown.
I'm
She's
in
like,
my nightie.
I'm in my nightgown. Why don't you come over to my place when you get home?
I think she wants to see the cat or something like that.
Yeah.
She's using that as an excuse. And then May's like sitting on the floor. I think she's smoking again. I don't know. And Anna Faris is sitting on the bed. And so May, if May leaned back, her head would be in between like Anna's legs.
Which is where you want to be.
This is getting a bit much. These are real people. I meant Polly's legs. There you go. Polly's not a real person.
Yeah, true. If we're sipping over someone, we've got to make it about the character.
Yeah.
It's not like when we called Kevin Bacon the entire time in the horror story. And then Kevin Bacon killed the kids.
Yeah, because I didn't know his name in that one.
Neither
I
did
still don't.
Also, he was a bad person, so we don't have to honor it. We
Yeah.
say Kevin Bacon because we like Kevin. Do we like Kevin Bacon?
He's a good actor.
Yeah, but is he a good person?
I don't know.
It's
I haven't
hard
checked.
to tell nowadays.
I haven't checked.
Anyway, I hope Anna Faris is a good person.
She better be. Anyway, so Polly and May start making out, and I think it's implied that they sleep together.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but we don't get to see any.
but
We get to see this.
Important. Her hand, because she's touching up May, and she's touching her neck, and then her like torso, and then touching more than that. But at one point, her hand crosses in front of May's face, and she notices that Polly has a big mole on
her
her
finger. Yeah.
And May looks like disgusted by it, and she
Yeah.
sort of like pushes the hand away. Obviously, again, this pulling on her like perfection thing.
So she decides she's gonna move on with her life away from Adam, and she decides I'm gonna volunteer with some blind kids, and it's so funny because
Well, before she volunteers, she's in the park smoking alone.
Yeah.
And she's looking over at one of the specific blind kids who is touching up a tree and looking at her hands.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was really weird. And then the next thing we know, she's knocking on the kindergarten door being like, I want to volunteer. Like,
Yeah.
this is why I call her a pseudo-pedophile.
But it was so funny because when she goes in to volunteer, so obviously it's implied that all of the volunteers, a lot of them are also disabled and chronically ill because that girl has like a tube in her nose.
Yeah. I don't think all of them, though.
No, but a lot of them, which is nice. I like that. It's also realistic.
Yeah.
Anyway, she goes up and she's like, oh, can I volunteer with like the blind class? And she's like, why? Is that your favourite disability or something like that?
Well, it's even creepier.
Yeah.
She says, oh, I saw the kids in the park and I don't know, it just like inspired me and I wanted to help out. And then she's like, okay, cool, you'll be assigned to a class. And she says, will it be the one from the park? The same one from the park. That's how creepy it was. And that's why the woman reacts like that. She's like, okay, like, you know, that's so weird. Would it be the same kids from the park?
Are the kids too disabled for you?
Because that's the class with all the hot ones. Like, that's the vibe it was given.
It was very weird.
I think it was pseudo-pedophilic. Because she was objectifying her hands, which we know that she has a somewhat sexual interest in.
Yeah. Then it's back to laundry in the laundromat. Is that how they say it in America? Laundrette in UK. Anyway, and Adam is there, and they're like doing it really far away from each other. But his machine is like, well, he's pretending that his machine is broken, but he's trying to also act nonchalant. So he's like, "Hey, May, how's it going?"
She's like, I'm making friends, and she shows him the cat.
Yeah.
He's like, say hello. This is Adam.
He's like, "Oh, that's nice." So it didn't feel right. Like it's okay. It didn't work out, right? You don't have any harsh feelings. And he's like, she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine." And he's like, "Friends then?" And she's like, "Sure." And she's still ogling his hands when they do like a handshake or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he leaves without doing any laundry because he just didn't want to do his laundry next to her.
Yeah. A few things happen back and forth.
Oh, yeah. After that, you find out that Polly's sleeping around. And May goes to Polly's house, and then she sees through the doorway she can see like a beautiful pair of legs and is like, oh, who's that? And she's like, oh, that's Ambrosia, like we're just like seeing each other right now.
Yeah.
And so like she's sleeping with multiple women.
Yeah. No, it's quite funny because Polly's quite mean to the woman.
She's like, shut up,
in a somewhat playful way.
Yeah.
But she's also like, she says to May, she's like, oh, she's just a side thing, she doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You're still my main slice. But what I loved about it,
mama, that's the one,
is it wasn't in a heterosexual way where this was a straight woman walking on a straight man.
Yeah.
They'd be like, baby, she means nothing to me. It was very like, oh, she's just fun. Not in a way that she was trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
It was acting within the confines and mindset that being promiscuous is normal.
Yeah.
Sleeping with other people is normal. I'm just letting you know that what I have with you is a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
Which I liked. It wasn't like I have to defend this. It was just like, oh yeah, she's just a bit of fun.
You're still my main mama.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, do you want to join us? And
Yeah.
I think I literally chanted like threesome. No,
But that's when May
it didn't happen.
takes Polly's hand and she puts it on the doorframe to block
The leg view.
the leg view. Like, because we could see that she liked the legs. But she was trying to stop herself from seeing them. It was unusual.
Yeah.
It was weird. I don't know why.
She's a bit upset and she leaves quite abruptly.
She leaves Polly's place and goes home. She's breaking down.
She's
all over
crying.
the place. And that's when she kills the cat. She throws an ashtray that was made for her by the blind girl that she objectifies.
Yeah.
Yeah, brutally kills the cat. And she panics and she puts the cat in the bathtub and she's like washing it, but also washing herself.
Yeah.
And then also is on the phone. So she's calling Adam over and over again.
Yeah, and Adam's not interested. He's not picking up.
So she leaves him a voicemail, which even his voicemail was performative. He was like, "This is Adam. Leave the message after the scream." I was like, okay, fucking loser.
Loser.
But he couldn't do a little biting drink and saying, okay.
Who doesn't like a little bite?
Just a little.
And then May decides to bring Susie to... Oh, she also keeps the cat in the freezer, by the way. So then May decides to bring Susie, the doll, to show and tell to the blind kids.
Yeah.
And she's describing the doll. She's like, this is my very special friend. Here. I can't remember the kid's name. Her favourite blind kid, she like brings her hand over to touch the box. She's like, look. Oh, feel like this is the box. Like, this is what she's in.
She says, here's my friend.
Yeah.
Like, feel her.
And they're like, we want to meet your friend. All the kids get very, very excited. They're like, we want to meet your friend.
Obviously, they're blind, so they're trying to touch it. And then they're like, oh, where is it? We can't feel her.
Yeah.
And she says, oh, she's in a box. And they're like, well, can we take her out?
Open it. Yeah.
And that's
I
when she
think
says
the
no.
kids think it's an animal of some kind, like a lizard. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what you'd think if it's a glass case that someone's brought in and you can't see.
Maybe. I didn't think about it.
That's what I think. That's why they got so overexcited.
I see. But then that kind of makes me hate the kids. Because if they thought there was an animal in a case and they were trying to rip into it, I'm kind of angry now.
I see what
Whereas
you
I
mean.
thought it was like a toy in a box. So they were like, oh, it's a doll? Like, oh, let us see the fucking toy. Like, trying to take it out of a toy box.
Yeah.
It's a bit more understandable. Yes,
I mean, they
kids
don't.
are greedy
They
anyway.
don't know. They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And they're like, let us meet your friend. Let's meet your friend. And then she's like pulling. Like Maya's trying to pull back, and it's like,
Tug of
no, you
war.
can't touch it. You can't touch it. And then the case drops. Glass goes everywhere. Susie's broken, and all the kids start like. It's weird because they start almost playing with the glass. Like all of their hands go into the glass. They're like touching everything and stuff like that. Now,
Yeah, one of the teachers goes like, don't move. It's shattered glass. And so all the kids stop, drop and roll, basically. They like, get on their hands and knees.
which is very unusual because, again, visually impaired kids and blind kids, they are taught as soon as you hear a shattering noise, you stop immediately because you're gonna hurt yourself if you go in like unprepared, essentially.
And mind you, most of these kids appear to be fully blind.
Yeah.
Which typically is rarer to just happen out of the blue. So most of them would have been born this way. And they're like 8 years old at least. Why don't they know better? That's why I said when we first like mentioned them that they were acting brand new.
Yeah.
Like new blind people. But like, I don't know. And I said this to you that like sometimes it feels like people think or forget blind kids aren't like learning to be blind.
Yeah.
They are blind. And
I mean, some of them
yeah.
could be, but again, if you're freshly blind and like a little apprehensive about the world, then you probably wouldn't be going, "Oh, shattered glass, yay!" Even a sighted kid is taught not to touch shattered glass. And most children are taught to stay still when they're shattered glass.
I get it. When children hear like a teacher, shout and it's like, oh, something really crazy happened, people go crazy. But I'm sorry, but like I just said, like blind kids are going to be a little bit more
Careful.
Yeah, they're going to react slightly different,
Yeah.
Which is like sad, but like that's how they live their life.
Yeah.
And on top of that, even if it was just some of them, why wasn't there at least 2 or 3 that froze?
Yeah.
They all dropped to their hands.
And they're like grabbing fistfuls of this glass.
And it almost was made to seem as if they were trying to find the doll. Because
Yeah.
the kids were, where is it? Where is it?
And the doll gets like pulled apart and like destroyed.
A blind kid is not hearing shattered glass and then going crawling around on their hands and knees going, where is it?
Yeah. And their hands are bleeding and everything. I believe that the thing is, I'm sure that most normal people would realise this, you know, even a sighted kid is taught to freeze at the sound of shattered glass, right?
Yeah.
So I believe this is like a direct, like intentional choice to make the kids go a bit feral over this.
Yeah.
Because I think that there needed to be something to push May off the edge. And that's what this did. It destroyed Susie, her only friend, and now May is a completely different person.
I have to say this, is as the kids are grabbing around, May is also trying to like pick up the doll and take it away from the kids.
Yeah.
So she's cutting up her own hands. But then the kids, like I said, are reaching for the doll, even though their hands are bleeding.
Yeah.
And this glass is shattered. They start reaching up at May, and one of the kids like gets their glass-filled hand into May's eye. And so May is like freaking out, batting them away.
But doesn't she also scratch up her eyes afterwards as well?
Yeah. But yeah, she gets like glass in her eye and she's like freaked out.
Yeah.
And she's like pushing her own hands into her own eyes.
Yeah.
It's a complete
She's scratching
meltdown.
up her face. It's funny because it cuts to like the workers at the centre and they're just like, she's not coming back. Like, this is a mess. It kind of does a little time skip. So May has now missed 2 days of work. You can hear this because she's lying on her bed, like kind of catatonic, and Polly's voicemail is playing, and she's like, "Hey doll, like where have you been? Like you missed 2 days of work. Like the doctor's getting really upset with you. Like you should come in."
Oh, we also see there's been a time skip, so her eyes have healed.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It's kind of like scabs around her eyes now.
Yeah, but fainter ones.
Yeah. She sits down on a bench. We've seen her there a few times before. And she meets this, like, punk guy.
Yeah. She's also dressed a little bit different.
Yeah, she's dressed in darker tones that she usually dresses in. Throughout a lot of this movie, she's wearing, like, floral clothes or, like, brighter colours, that kind of thing. But now she's wearing, like, a darker toned outfit. And she meets this, like, punk guy on this bench.
Got a lot of energy. He jumps onto the bench.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is kind of important to say. He's one of the very few, like, people of colour as well.
Yeah.
We had a black teacher at the kindergarten. Who had a line or two, but then he is Native American, I believe, Filipino and Irish.
Okay, that's your headcanon.
No, I looked it up.
You looked it up?
Mm-hmm.
The actor?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Just because I refer to him a lot as Native American, I just want to be sure, because I know that, especially with the era of movie, there were a lot of Filipinos playing like Mexicans, playing every kind of Asian, also playing Native American.
Yeah.
But he appears like Native American.
Yeah. And she invites him to her house, doesn't she? Or does he invite himself? I can't remember. He ends up at her house.
Yeah.
And then he's I can't tell if he's flirting or if he's just being a weirdo, because at one point he's like, "Oh, it's so hot in here. Let me just take my shirt off." Right? He takes his like battle vest off. By the way, punks and their battle vests, they stink. They stink.
They do. Also, I want to clarify, it was Vietnamese, not Filipino. Thank you.
Okay.
I wrote it down.
Okay. And then he's like, "Oh, do you have any ice so I can rub them on my nipples?"
Yeah, but you know what? It was kind of hot. Don't get me wrong. Like we had a debate about his hair. He had a mohawk, but it was kind of like a different kind of cool one.
Yeah,
but it looked sticky and gross.
He had a nice chest though.
He did, and like I don't know, him being like, "Oh, it's so hot," taking off his shirt. I was like, "Ooh!" But what got me that I thought was kind of attractive is when he gets up to get ice for his nipples, which I thought was weird and lame.
Yeah.
But his like trousers were like the band of them was like really wide.
That's just
They
like
were,
their style
but it was
back
like
in the
really
day.
loose.
Yeah.
Like they look like they could fall down. And you can kind of peek down a little. And it was like, "Oh my god." That was
Clutching
me.
your pearls.
I was clutching my pearls.
And then he sees the dead cat in the fridge. Oh, by the way, May likes his tattoo. She has like a Frankenstein tattoo on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Anyway, he opens the thing, sees a dead cat, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then she like kills him.
Well, yes, but like he's like freaking out.
Yeah.
And then that's when you went, "Use your white woman tears, be a white woman." And then she does. She literally starts crying. She's like, "It's just my cat," and she's using her white woman tears, and he starts to like kind of be like, "Oh wait, what's going on here?"
Yeah.
Maybe like I'm misunderstanding. Thing is, I'm such a good liar. Whenever I watch films like this, because I hate embarrassment.
Yeah.
So I have gotten so good at just reflexively lying
Yeah.
to not be embarrassed. And I would have just immediately been. I told you I was like, "Oh, I'm getting my cat got hit by a car, and I'm getting it taxidermied, and they just told me to put it in the freezer until they're able to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know it's really weird."
Again, I would have said something similar. I'm like, "I was really close to my cat. I'm just not ready to bury him yet. I just needed to keep him close for a couple more days. I'm sorry. I know it's weird. I know I'm weird." And then that's when you self-depreciate enough to where they have to comfort you.
Well, see, that's what she tries to do.
Yeah.
But then she has this moment where she sort of like wakes up from her tears because they weren't real.
Yeah.
And she sort of, I don't know if it's realizing that he wasn't buying it or just realizing that
She didn't care if he
she
bought
didn't
it.
care if he bought it or even needed to. And so she picks up a pair of scissors and she stabs him in the head.
Yeah.
Then we cut to like his body on the floor with like a tarp over his head. She's got her foot, I believe it's either on his head or his shoulder, but like it's on him. And it was just such a weird shot that she was like powering over him like that her foot was on him like that while she was sat on the couch. And I can't remember what she's doing or thinking, but the scene ends up ending with her looking at her favorite part of him, which was his arm.
And she goes, I need more parts.
Yeah. But I don't know. I thought that was just an interesting shot.
Yeah.
Why she got her boot on him? Okay.
I don't know, freak. Why do you have your shoes on in your house? Oh, my bad. This is when Adam approaches and says friends.
She's in the park and now she looks very different. She's out of cigarettes at this point as well.
Yeah.
But I believe she still has the box even.
Yeah.
But it's empty. And he kind of almost comes on to her.
Yeah.
But she's uninterested now. She doesn't want him anymore.
Oh,
which
yeah.
he's confused
He's
by.
like, oh, what are you reading, May? And she's just like, amputation. And he's like, what, for work? No, for fun.
Because she actually is a freak.
Yeah.
Unlike him. She's not a performative freak.
And he's like, oh, okay, well, you know, okay, can we still be friends? Like, and she's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, what's up, dude? Is what she says at one point.
Then the next thing we see her with Polly. At this point too, her eyes have like fully healed, which is crazy because there was glass in them and she scratched them, but whatever. And she's measuring Polly, and Polly's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I wanted to apologize for how I acted last time I saw you, so I'm gonna make you a blouse." Which again, I know she's lying, but
Yeah.
just gave so lesbian to me.
Oh, it's so gay.
It was like, oh yeah,
You heard of the lesbian sweater curse?
I felt bad about how things ended, so I made you a blouse. But what the fuck is this?
So, sometimes it's known as the crochet curse as well, or something like that. But essentially, like, lesbians will make like a garment out of yarn, usually like a jumper or a blanket, and they'll knit or crochet it. And essentially, the curse is that your partner will break up with you either right as you're about to finish it or a couple weeks after you finished it.
I have never heard that.
Straight people have heard of it now too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna never do that.
You're never gonna make Andrew anything.
No.
And then this is also where May properly meets Ambrosia and you see her like full body. She's like a model or something. She's very gorgeous.
May says that she has nice gams, as
Yeah.
in like her calves and stuff.
Yeah, her like legs. And she also steals tools from work as well, like saws and like medical equipment to like amputate shit from.
And May mentions to Polly about the mole on her finger.
Yeah.
And she says, like, you ever thought about getting it removed? And that's when Polly says that her grandmother always said that imperfections are what made people beautiful, which I don't know if May agrees with that. She probably looked at her like, psh, that's just because you're ugly. Grandmas don't say that to pretty grandchildren, just saying.
And then
Imagine your grandmother says that to you, just out of the blue. She's like, I just want you to know because I feel like this might be important in your life.
the imperfections make you
But
beautiful.
imperfections, those are the things that make us beautiful. I'd be like, why are you saying that to me?
I never heard that from my grandma, but I have heard that from random people when they see you with your cane. People at school, TAs, they love that line. They love that line. If you're disabled, just know you're gorgeous, and a disability is just a part of you. It's not an imperfection. Just be neutral about it. That's the main thing. If you know someone who's disabled, you don't have to be like, your imperfections make you beautiful. Let me kiss your scars.
Let me kiss your cane. Put it up my ass.
You know what? You could.
I don't want that.
You asked. Yeah, now it comes to Halloween, and it kind of has been building up from Halloween earlier in the film. Like, one of the conversations with Polly is about, like, costumes and stuff. And May has, like, a really sick look. She's carrying this, like, giant suitcase. She's got, like, this homemade, like, black and red dress that's, like, made of scraps. Anyway, all the lesbians have worn this as a Halloween costume at some point. All the femmes have, anyway. And she's going to Polly's house, and she's, like, talking to Polly, and she's like, oh, I think Polly's trying to keep it kind of secret because Ambrosia's coming back soon. And she's like, where's my blouse? Like, what's going on? Like, how's the kitty? That kind of stuff.
They're on the couch and they've swapped positions this time. So
Yeah.
Polly is in between May's legs. And May pulls out these two scalpels and puts them in front of Polly's face. And Polly, unlike Adam, is actually a freak. So she's like, oh, I know you wouldn't hurt me. And then starts leaning into the blade.
She's very careful about it. She's like getting it right above where she thinks her neck is perfect.
Yeah.
And she gets it. And then this shot is so funny to me because there's a shot of the like living room, but you can see the kitchen and the like back door area.
Yeah.
And Ambrosia comes in through the back door and she's like drinking milk and she's trying to talk to Polly and she's like, are you on the toilet because I just drank so much and I need to go and blah blah blah. And you can see Polly's body like in the living room, but Ambrosia can't see it. It's kind of like that one shot where May is listening to people chat shit about her. It's really good.
It's fun, especially when you watch May walk from the left side, or sort of the death shot, into the hallway, into the kitchen light. Do you know, it's really fun to see that.
Yeah.
It's sinister.
Yeah, it is really cool.
Also, the doorway shot really helped frame the gams.
Oh yeah. And I'll say this, the lesbians are like the realest one in this movie because Polly is like, let me be a freak too, right? But Ambrosia, she's like, I'm not a freak and you are and I don't want to be anything to do with you from day one. So the only people who are truly like honest with her.
But also, they're really the most open-minded.
Yeah.
Even though she hated her, I'm sure she would be willing to have a threesome before she was a freak.
If Polly asked.
Yeah.
And Ambrosia's like, I think you're a freak and I think you need to stay away from Polly and I think Polly doesn't actually like you that much and blah, blah, blah. May's like, you have beautiful legs. And she's like, I thought they were gams. And she's like, stems, gams, wheels, whatever.
12 for me.
12.
And so she does.
She resists. But yeah, she does do it.
And then May stabs her.
May stabs her. Yeah. And she takes all the body parts back in a suitcase.
Yeah.
And I think this is the bit where she goes to Adam's house, right?
Yeah, she does. She walks in. She's in her costume. They're like, nice costume. He's in a Roman costume. His girlfriend is in like a cheetah costume.
And it's the girlfriend who actually invites her in.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, this is May? Ooh.
Come in. Like, what, do you want a drink or something?
And they sit at a table. And she was being weird about his hands again.
Mm-hmm.
And May says, like, touch my face.
Yeah.
And she gets up. And he's really rude to his girlfriend too.
And also the girlfriend is also upset with him. Like, she's going to leave.
But then May stabs the girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And then seems to go at Adam. But then it cuts to her at home. She now has all the body parts. And then we see flashes of her sort of stabbing him and cutting off his hand.
Can I say, I'm upset that we didn't get to see, like, a brutal murder of Adam. Because he's been the main target in this movie. And it felt kind of anticlimactic to only see flashes of it.
Yeah. Also, he was not just the main target, but it's like so important to her transition, but her developmental growth into what she is now. He was so fundamental in it. Like the multiple denying of her. I don't want to say him breaking her heart because he reacted very rationally to everything she did. But that was such an important part. So then to not see his death was just kind of weird.
I agree. I agree.
But also his girlfriend, who we just met, we see her get brutally stabbed.
Yeah. We see Ambrosia, who's had 2 scenes, get stabbed.
But just not the white man. Okay.
Yeah. I'm very upset about that. She goes back to her apartment and she's building this doll. We get to see her like stitching the different body parts together. We see she's got the punk's torso, Adam's hands, Holly's neck, and Ambrosia's like lower half and legs. And she puts some cat hair in it in the head, right? Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have like a face. It's got like a cloth face with the cat hair stuffed inside it. And she's giving it like, is it like stone eyes from Susie? Or
no, maybe, but they just kind of look like paper.
Oh, okay, my bad. And she arranges the letters because she has the letters of her name and she calls the doll Amy. And she's like talking to this doll and she's very happy with it at first.
And mind you, this is obviously parallel to what happened in the beginning when her mother said, if you can't find a friend, make one.
Yeah.
And that's what she's done.
Yeah. And at first she's very happy with the doll and she's loving it. I'm thinking this whole time that doll's going to rot. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
But she's trying to like get something from it. Like she knows it's not real, obviously. But she's trying to... But she's not getting anything, and then she looks in its eyes, and she says, you can't see me.
You don't see me. You don't see me. Mm-hmm. And so she gouges out her own eye, her good eye as well.
Yeah, because she's not going to give it the imperfect part.
Yeah. Gives Amy the eye and puts it on her, and then she lies down on Amy's chest, right? And this part is the most, I guess, fantastical part of the movie, right? Because the last thing that happens in this film is that Amy kind of comes to life and puts its
Frankenstein
arm around May and touches her face.
As if it's alive.
And touches her face. And then the movie ends. It's really cool because the whole movie you're thinking, is this all in her head, or is all this cracking glass and all that, is that in her head, or is Susie alive, or is there any kind of like fantastical element happening here? And you're really doubting like it all, because I think you were convinced that it was magical and I was convinced it was all psychological until the very end where it's confirmed to be like a magical kind of thing that's happened. Or I guess we don't even know that because we could be imagining things.
I don't think it was magical at all.
You don't think it was? You think it was?
In the end, I don't think it's magical. Like, because sometimes films are like that where they do something at the end and makes you go, or was it? But I don't think it was, or was it? I think it was just like, oh, she's really gone now.
Oh, okay, interesting.
That's how I saw it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And I started knowing nothing about it really. I'd only ever seen the poster everywhere, kind of on this as well, but I never really learned about it. So I was thinking, oh, is the box going to crash and somehow a spirit's going to come out the door into her? I don't know. So that's how I started thinking. And by the end, I'm like, there's not a lick of supernatural in this.
We've gone in opposite directions then from where we started. Because I was thinking, oh, maybe it was magical. But I guess maybe it could be psychological as well.
I think also because the messaging could be taken a few ways, but the one core theme has to do with her own mind and how she sees herself and stuff.
Yeah.
And loneliness and wanting a friend. And the fact that, like, the friend finally comes to life when she adds a piece of herself. Yeah. And it's kind of that symbolism that, like, she was her own friend the whole time. Yeah. That I think it was all in her head.
Fair enough. Can I go first?
Sure.
I really like this movie. I thought it was really good. I mean, I like all the other movies on the lists that come out, so I'm thinking, of course I'm going to like this one. I think there were parts of it that was very, like, relatable. It's a very specific feeling when you've never had anybody, like, you've never been engaged with anybody properly romantically. This film kind of captures that very well. And it's also this feeling of like being outcasted and not knowing anybody and being extremely like lonely that I felt throughout it. And I really enjoyed that. I also think it was very, very interesting that we kind of almost sided with the like mass murderer, because it's like, oh, they're performative, they don't deserve this freak, you know, like May's better than him because she's, you know, openly a freak, as opposed to Adam, who was a bitch. And I liked the edit,
which is funny because she's like evil,
yeah,
and does bad thing and is a pseudo pedophile.
Yeah, but we still enjoyed May more than we enjoyed anybody else in this movie, maybe apart from Polly. Yeah,
Polly's my favorite. I
think the tone is really cool. The fashion is really iconic. I like a lot of the clothes in this, or her style is very unique, even if you don't like the clothes. I really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
I felt that a lot of it was very uninteresting and long.
Oh, okay.
I liked the general message. I liked the taking, you know, that idea of like not like having ever been romantically or very even socially engaged. And if you take a neurodivergent reading to this film, I do enjoy it more. If that was kind of confirmed-ish, which it's not about being confirmed, you know, that is the experience. And if neurodivergent people feel that and like that is the experience, and you know, it makes it that, you know, regardless. But that's not confirmed that she is. And I feel like they're trying to imply that she is the way she is because of her mother and the way she raised her. That's why we were harping on it so much in the beginning. But in my head, there wasn't enough of her mother to make me feel, not necessarily that she was justified, but to understand her.
Okay.
We see her mother being a little funny about her dress and then a little funny about, you know, wrapping paper and this doll. But then that's all we see of her childhood. Her parents aren't in her life the entire film. So we don't know how long did she live with them? How much she was affected by them? Was her mother abusive? Was she not?
See, I understand where you're going, but I also don't think that it was so much the parents and more like the kind of ripples of the actions, because we don't really see the parents that much, but we do see and established that the parents' actions, of course, are to be very lonely and isolated and not get the childhood development that other kids have had.
See, I can understand that. But at the beginning of the film, like after her childhood thing, like she gets bullied for her lazy eye, right? Which is like, oh, no one will be friends with her because she has a lazy eye.
Yeah.
Whatever. But at the beginning of the film, she wears glasses that correct her lazy eye.
Yeah.
And she's been living as an adult, probably working at this as a vet tech assistant for a while. So she's known Polly probably for a little bit. Not saying that like Polly has anything to do with it. But she decides that she can't make friends or get to know anyone until she gets these contact lenses. And it's so weird to me that like, I'm sorry, like as much as kids get bullied for things like a lazy eye, by the time you're a full-blown, like, working adult, you've made no friends just because you were bullied as a kid for your lazy eye. It doesn't make sense to me unless you show me she had a particularly hard circumstance. Like, having a controlling parent and then also having something physical about you that gets mocked, makes you uncomfortable around people, is super heavy. But it's not enough, or at least the instances and experiences we witnessed aren't enough for me to understand why she's in the place she is. I don't get it. She's a full working person who's probably trained, also has a full education, and yet you're like, boo-hoo, no one's friends with me, I'm so lonely.
I think it's like the reaction to it, right? Because you can be bullied for a certain amount of time and you can really choose how you react to that bullying, right? You can accept that everything that they're saying about you is true and you're truly friendless and alone, or you can, like, you know, fight back against that. Like, I am a good person, I deserve friends, I deserve love, right? And May has kind of chosen that everything that everyone has said about her is true because she's not perfect.
And this is, when we're talking in terms of films, and this is why I make enemies, when we're talking in terms of films and stuff and representation of people, this is what gets me about specific films like this. And I'm not saying that this was made with women in mind or like to represent every woman's thought at all, but just speaking of women in horror, specifically white women in horror, especially when it comes to genres like this, where it's about a woman, you know, embracing like rage or whatever the hell, right? For good or bad, is you have these white female characters that don't go through that much and yet make it everyone else's issue. That character's like, now everyone else has to die because she is imperfect, because she wasn't raised right. When, you know, you look in other films and messages of other demographics, let's say like black people, right? Where they go through hell and the whole point is they still come through it good people. They still come through it whole. And so it's just tiring. I'm not gonna lie, it's the type of film that I'm very tired of, to see like a white woman, like, boohoo, you had a lazy eye and your mom was controlling, and now you just make it like everyone else's issue. Especially something that I thought was really odd, and I kind of pointed this out when we had the first human kill, which ended up being the Native American guy. And he is a character that we meet for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
We barely know him. We get like 2 sentences from him. I wouldn't be surprised if he was under 5 lines. And he's the first thing that she kills. Now, it's, you know, it's very much known in horror or like, you know, killers and stuff that you have like the opposite of the save the cat, which is like you have the person kill an animal before they kill a human being.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. It's like the first thing they do. We saw it in Strangers recently. And that is a very funny like parallel to like Save the Cat, but it's also like obviously mimicking like how serial killers, you know, start with animals anyway. And she kills the cat first. And the order of which she kills people was incredibly interesting to me because I don't know how intentional this was.
Yeah.
So honestly, if I view this film as a critique of like white women like this, I can almost enjoy it more. But she kills the animal. Then she kills the man of color, the person of color. Then she kills the gay women. Then she kills the straight man's straight girlfriend. Then she kills the straight white man. It literally...
It's like order of importance kind of thing.
Yeah, it literally goes up like a hierarchy of the way that people are placed in society.
Yeah.
And I'm just sort of... And they're treated that way too. Because, you know, the person of color is obviously given like the most like lowly, quick death with like no character, no depth, no care about who they are. And then as the further up you get, I mean, the lesbian is promiscuous and sleeps around, and right before she dies, one of the last things she says is horny and sexual. You know, it's her being like, oh, I know you wouldn't hurt me, like being all sexual with the scalpel, almost as if like her reacting in a sexual way is what ended up with her demise. If she wasn't so horny in the head and those scalpels came down, she would have been like, whoa, what are you doing? And like backed up and maybe saved her life. But she was too gay and lesbian to save her own life. And then when you go up this hierarchy and the way that they've treated these different like characters with their identities and how when you read into it like this, and then you get finally to the man, the white man, and then as you say, you don't even get to witness his death. They objectify the death of this person of color, of the queer women, even of the girlfriend, and it gets less brutal as you go up. The man of color gets stabbed in the head. There's blood everywhere. He tumbles to the ground. The lesbian is cut with such precision, and the woman with the gam is a quick stab. And even the straight girlfriend, she gets a quick slice and then falls to the ground.
Yeah.
It's still gruesome, but it gets less gruesome as you go up until it gets to the straight white man, and we don't objectify his death. His death isn't used as shock. We don't get to see his death be gruesome. I don't want to say he gets dignity, but he almost does.
Well, it's also interesting because I didn't read into it in terms of like that larger context. I kind of read into it as a kind of character study on May specifically, right? Somebody who has been isolated by her parents, at one point by her peers, but not anymore. But those experiences led her to self-isolate herself, right? And that's why she fixates on. So the one thing that her parents fixated on, or her mother fixated on, was her eye, right? And so now she's fixated on what makes everyone else more perfect than her, right?
Yeah.
And so I find it really interesting that the deaths go in order of who she's been fixated on longest, right? And so the least fixations on is obviously the punk, and then technically it's Ambrosia and then Polly, but you know, she does them basically at the same time. And then it's the girlfriend who's done nothing, but she's just there at the wrong time. And then it's the man, right? And I think it's also interesting that it's like the smallest parts are what she's been fixated on the longest, right? And so it kind of shows that like it didn't really matter, but May's mind had made it matter, if that makes sense. So I think it's kind of like interesting in that way.
See, that's how I can view her.
It's a very pansexual movie to me, because it's like, because when I came out, you said, oh, like hearts not parts, right? And I said this movie.
That was the joke back in the day.
Yeah, this movie is parts not hearts, and I found that very like amusing, I guess. And I think that I wonder more about the director's or writer's intentions on this than anything else.
Because that's my thing. The reading you gave of her just then, I can agree with that, of a reading of her character, her intentions, her feelings. I will say the order thing is something I also thought of, like, oh, maybe it is just part fixation. But there's like two breaks because the cat and the lesbian side piece are kind of slightly out of order. But not crazy enough that like what you said can't be true. But I can agree with that as a reading of her character. But my thing is, I'm reading the film. And as you said, like the director's decisions. And so reading it that way is incredibly different. Because yes, May might not be racist. She might not be any of those things. And she might not view people in a hierarchical way at all. But the way that the film was made does feel that way. Okay. Because why did, you know, the person that she kills first after the cat, why did it have to be a person of color? Especially when everyone else was so white. Yeah. Why did this person need to be a person of color? Why was that so distinct? And not only was he a person of color, he was an alternative person. He was punk. Again, which societally is viewed as like lesser than, you know, to be alternative that way, you are the lowest like rank of society because you're just a greasy alternative punk, right? And he's also a person of color. So she literally goes from like animal again to a greasy alternative punk to, you know, a white woman, which is like obviously above people of color, but a queer white woman, which is below, and her promiscuity stops her from saving herself from death. And then it gets up to the straight man, and it's not just him. They include his straight white girlfriend, as if just to add that one little extra step, that like above gay white women is that straight white woman next to, and she literally dies next to cis white man who has been the biggest fixation and is above all of them. And again, he's the only one given dignity in death. This could have been intentional.
Yeah.
And there could be a way to view this and think that that's good. But because May's character is I believe May's character is the way that you read her, right?
Yeah.
That to me doesn't feel intentional. Whether unintentional or intentional, it feels like it is kind of in the bad way that I'm reading it. That it was kind of...
See, I kind of read
their own personal bias.
I read it as less of a personal bias and more as a kind of reflection again on May's character, because it's kind of indiscriminate. So you go kind of from the bottom of the food chain, as it were, to the very top, and it's like her fixation reaches everybody.
See, for her...
But that's why the film kills... The fixation on perfection kills everybody.
Yeah, but that's how I view her. And the fact that this pattern I'm finding, which I'm sorry, it's so... Like, even as I say it out now, it's so... Again, it could have been unintentional, but my point is so, like, solid, genuinely. I hardly ever believe that about myself, but my point is genuinely so solid. And there's so many points to make about how they die, the way they die, who they are, that is so solid in what I'm saying. Because May feels the way you're saying it, I agree. I think May as a character, she's the way you're saying. So it doesn't agree with the way that it was directed. As in the way...
I don't think that May the character can be, like... I understand that certain films you can separate the protagonist and the, like, narrative, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't really think that you can do that in this instance, because the entire way the story is told is from May's perspective, but also, like, showing how psychologically, like, damaged she is, especially with the cracking glass and the thing that happens at the end, right? And so I think that when you read May... When I read May as a character, I'm also reading the film, if that makes sense.
But here's the thing, I think it can completely, because when you take your interpretation of May, like, and her doing it, you know, sort of like an order of obsession, stuff like that, right? And importance or whatever, agreed. But then he could have been a black guy. The person who died at the end could have been a white woman. Polly didn't need to be a lesbian.
Yeah.
None of these parts that I'm talking about were necessary components. You could have jumbled up their identities or flipped them on their head. That version of May could still be true. Which means that the choices about their identity, the stuff that I'm reading into, has nothing to do with May or her experience or her choices.
That's something to do with the crew,
the director and the writer and their choices. And it's so specific. Like I've read it to you. Like it's such a specific chain.
Yeah.
You couldn't accidentally put together such a specific chain.
You know, when you get, like, casted for a movie or like in an independent film, I once showed my first film I ever made to a university I was applying for, and they were like, so I was talking about, like, the disability aspect of it, and because my main character is, like, a blind murderer in that one.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, well, I mean, and I said, oh, you know, like, I casted him on, like... His casting wasn't on purpose because he was the only person I could get, but I put him in a leather jacket to make him a bit more menacing, and I made, like, him use a cane because I needed him to be blind and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, yeah, but I just saw, like, a nice black man walking down the street, and I was like, yeah, but he was the only person I could get, you know? So I wonder, because it's a bigger movie, obviously it had a budget to do all of the gore effects and all the scenes and all that. So I wonder how much of it, like, did they pick the coolest looking punk out there, or did they pick him because he was the race he was, you know?
But see, what you just said there, why did he even need to be a punk? That's what I'm saying. What you did was just hire one actor, and it was only one you can get.
Yeah. I'm interested to see the circumstances behind his casting, is what I'm saying.
No, I would be interested to see too, but what I'm saying is about all these characters in their casting and their writing specifically, like him being a punk, I assume that was in the writing.
Yeah.
Regardless, I assume the actor isn't even a punk, but regardless of the writing, they wanted it to be a punk, which is curious to me. I'm like, why is it? Because even then, it's that way. And again, like I said, this order of, like, kills is... That chain I just spoke about is so spot on without even a blip. Like, even the time order one, which I do agree with, I still think that that's part of her character. Even that has, you know, 2 little blips. But this order of fucking, like, societal, like, listing of these minorities is so perfect. There's not a single blip or, like, etch that's, like, out of place or wrong.
Yeah.
That, like, you cannot be unintentionally that racist. And that's why I'm saying I give this film a 2 out of 5, and I feel very funny about it, because if I read May more as a neurodivergent character, she's supposed to be neurodivergent, I like it a little bit more. And if their choice to make this killing at the end hierarchical was intentional, not because May is hierarchical, but because the entire thing is about, you know, mothers passing down perfection onto their daughters, the idea of, like, the harm that causes, and that also, and them trying to, like, very subtly portray how society's view of perfection, because her mother was this white woman with like perfect hair and a perfect
Stepford wife looking.
Yeah.
But her dad didn't look like that at all. He looked like a blue collar bloke, which is interesting.
But like her mother was like that kind of like image of whiteness. So it could have been them trying to subtly use this hierarchical sort of death at the end to show that like perfection as viewed by, because the whole message is that like perfection isn't real, and the way that she views perfection isn't real. Like she thinks his hands are perfect. So the fact that it goes from the most imperfect, which is this like punk with like a tattoo and, you know, a person of color, because that's, and who is alternative, which is how society views it, and it goes up to the highest perfection in society, which is a straight cis white man. If that's intentional, then I can like this film a lot more. But it's so vague and metaphorical that I can't know that, and that's why I feel suspicious of this film.
Would your feelings change if the director or writer were people of color?
Probably, because then that would make me feel as though it was the intentional version I spoke about. Then it would make me feel that it was that.
Fabulous.
But without the confirmation, I'm skeptical of it.
Fair
and
enough.
Then underneath it all, like I said right at the beginning of my review, I am just kind of tired of these like white women who are like, boohoo, now I'm going to make it every minority's problem. Not that they do that intentionally, but they kind of do. Like there are amazing films out there that are about like, you know, female rage and stuff like this. But like, I don't know, when you go through a string of like watching, like go watch a bunch of horror films with people of color, and the entire time the whole thing is like just white people, especially white men, but white people just like putting them through hell and shit, and them coming out the other side like better and prosperous and good people and overcoming it. And then you have all these films with white women, and it's just like, my life's so hard, you know? Because, you know, they talk about representation in film.
But I will say, like, specifically, like, suburban white horror is very much the case of their perception means everything, if that makes sense. They think something's wrong, and therefore they're going to make something else wrong, right? Like, look at, like Black Swan, for example. Like, that's a very much, like, a movie you were kind of talking about. Where, like, there is societal problems, but they can choose to kind of opt out of them if they really needed to. But their choice instead is to go off the deep end instead. In the lens of white suburban horror, it kind of views it as bigger than it is.
But also Black Swan is a copy. It's a ripoff.
Is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, there's other movies like that too, you know. Yeah. But
One
Black
second.
Swan's the one I could think of at the time.
Perfect Blue. That's what it's called.
Oh, I love Perfect Blue.
Yeah, okay. But here's the thing. Black Swan rips off Perfect Blue. But the difference when you watch the two different ones is when you watch it, like, and it's like Asian characters, there's this cultural aspect to it of perfection that underlines that when you watch it and it's just this like white woman, yes, in her life, that perfection and that system that she's put in, she obviously can opt out of, but it feels like she can't when you're in it. It doesn't hit as hard because you're looking at a straight cis white woman in America. And as much as she's not a white man, it's like you don't have the culture that kind of surrounds something like Perfect Blue that makes you kind of understand why that person's trapped in this idea of perfection and control. I don't understand it as much when it's this like white woman in America, especially when you're any other kind of minority in the Western world, where white women are the thing that like gets to be different and gets to express themselves. And that's why people of color and queer people have lived vicariously through white women forever. That's why, you know, gay men of color and trans women of color have like been working through white pop artists and stars and actresses for many, many, many years, because they're not allowed to wear the wigs, they're not allowed to wear the makeup, etc. So it's just, I'm just saying, like, from like a person of color, but especially like a queer person of color, watching like a straight cis white woman go through this thing that it's like you could just opt out of the system. I don't know, it can be quite annoying sometimes. Or like with a film like May, that it's like, we get it, but the thing is, I know that a lot of white women watch this, and not even just white women, obviously neurodivergent people and all sorts of people who grew up with that in some ways could relate to something like May. But obviously, especially a lot of women who have been made to feel
That they don't fit into the mold of white women that people want them to be.
Exactly, or that they need to be something or be perfect, or that they're carrying this like internal negative monologue that's like their mother's voice, right? Or anyone, whoever's put it into them, society. I understand like relating to that, but you just watch so many, it gets a little bit tiring. But then specifically when I watch one like this and I see the way that they did what I'm complaining about with like the different minorities, that's when I get bitter. And I'm like, okay, like it's one thing to like do this again and it's fine, I can buy into it because this is real feelings and someone's real feelings. But then why did you have to do everyone else like that? It gets even annoying. And there's a few other like films that do that, where it does kind of put other minorities down. The character does, whether intentionally or unintentionally, like now we're questioning. And it just, I don't know, it gets tiring.
That's fair enough.
I know it's a completely different perspective. It doesn't get spoken about much, but
No, it's good to have different perspectives.
But I give it 2 out of 5. I could 100% give it a 3 out of 5. If I like had confirmation on things.
If you went and looked at the DVD behind the scenes menu kind of thing.
If the people who made it were people of color and Also, like, they were like, yeah, we kind of had, like, we think about, like, you know, socializing, and I know, like, a lot of if they did have neurodiversity in their brain when they made it, and they were people of color, or even white people who intentionally did it as a message about society and not just like, is it mirroring society, or is it mirroring this director's personal bias? That's what I want to know.
Okay, I see what you mean.
So it could flip from this 2, it could flip up to a 3, even 3.5.
Yeah.
But there we go. That was the longest review I ever gave on any of these films.
Yes. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.
You can find us wherever you find your podcasts. We're also on Instagram and Letterboxd. Bye.
Have a good day.